payroll
Okay.
optimization. Mr. Emmanuel Okafor.
The question I have, how about companies? Because I don't think it's all companies that deduct this NHSIF and all other exemptions. What then happens? It's not all companies that apply NHIF, maybe pension,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
computation of their tax payroll. So in that situation, what then happens
Yes.
is that they are reducing what's it called, the benefit the staff is supposed to earn, and thereby increasing their tax liability.
Okay, yes, I get your
Am I
point
right?
now. You're right. So you're looking at companies that don't have, you're looking
And
at
that doesn't deduct,
that don't
that
deduct
does not deduct NHSF,
all
maybe
those
pension
tax
or
exempt item and the
yes,
likes.
exactly.
Okay,
Just calculate
they only deduct only pension, right? Or they don't
maybe
deduct
only
pension at
pension.
all. Only pension.
Exactly.
Okay. So in that case, this is where you have to look at everything you can claim. The only thing you can also claim is what I've mentioned, your BIK. You can add your BIK if there's any benefit, because you need to look at the, if you're when you're doing payroll optimization, you can look at the scenarios. You need to do the calculation very well and know extent of BIK, because if you're adding BIK to it, what's the marginal tax rate you are paying and what's the marginal tax rate on the CRA you are claiming in terms of the relief you are claiming on it. You have to do the calculation very well
Okay.
for your company to decide that okay, this is how we must how we could do to optimize our payroll. So the two deduction you have you can add BIK to it to increase your gross income so that you can be able to claim
Yeah.
more CRA on it. Or
CRA.
you yes,
Okay.
or if you have staff that are building their, I mean, encourage staff to get, I mean, facility to build their own property in your company, so they can use the interest on that particular amount they are paying, since it's
Mm,
their own personal property. It's not,
yes.
it's not they can. It's where they won't be paying rent again, so they can use the interest on the rent. I mean,
The
on the loan
mortgage.
to reduce their tax liability. These are the two options that are available for now for such companies that
Okay.
do not deduct those statutory items. There could be other option if you look at the payroll and we do them simulations on the,
Mm,
there could be other option, but these are the on the face option that are available. Tax planning is not much on employment staff. I mean, those it's not much, but
mm,
we can still do some simulation if you have any special case to see what can be done to the payroll to even improve the net pay for the staff. Okay,
okay, no problem. We'll study the two of them, in details to see how we can effect it.
exactly. So we also have Madam Tolu Lokpe. Your question, ma. Madam
Sorry,
Tolu.
good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, good evening, madam.
I didn't have any question. I think what I have in mind before, but you've also already answered the question. There are some companies that they do have basic salary, then other allowances, and I don't know if that one will have any effect on pay. Maybe all those allowances, like, and you've also already explained, but there are some allowances like all these upfront. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe regular upfront, cost of passage, all those kind of allowances. Does it have any effect on pay? Can we use that to reduce the amount to be paid as pay?
No. Upfront will not. It's also an income. It will not have any effect. Only that it will manage in two ways. It will be saying that yes, what is your salary the from your normal. I mean, when it comes to housing on the month, they will calculate your payroll normal. Then the upfront they pay the part of the, like on the monthly. Some people that get upfront before, they may not even stay in the company till the end of the year, and you cannot just pay all their taxes like that to the tax authority. What if
Okay.
they resign? Will you collect your tax back? So you can look at, yes, you can also make it a kind of deferred tax. Calculate it based on the normal employment letter on a monthly basis. So on a monthly basis, you know how much you're going to give the state internal revenue services. But some company will just calculate the taxes and look at the tax on the upfront, and pay advance tax to the tax authority, which is not too good. In that case, what if someone leaves the company before the end of the year and you paid all the tax to the tax authority? What happens? Will you collect your money back? So, cost of passage of time, all those leave allowances really uh, they don't have much effect on your payroll because of uh, the amendment to Companies Income Act that was done in 2011 during Jonathan's administration. So, and that's why we have the CRA, Consolidated Relief Allowance. That's consolidated everything, you know. So be the higher of 1% of your gross income or 200,000 naira, or and I mean plus 20% of your gross income. So that's what the CRH was before the amendment that you can tweak all those allowances, and tweak it very well. But in 2011, CRA was introduced, known as Consolidated Relief Allowance. So there's no way to hide that much, unlike we had before. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. User, your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, Mr. Shegun, you are there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
My questions have been partially answered during the course of other participants asking their question.
Okay, sir.
That national house and insurance scheme and the other, the health scheme, if one does not have it on one's payroll, does it have any effect, sanctionable effect by the state government? Can they compute something and will be asked to pay fines or penalty for not including it? Or is it not a mandatory deduction?
It's a mandatory deduction. It's a mandatory, but of course, if you look at those laws, you look at the minimum, some that gives you the minimum amount of staff, you should have before you could participate in it. So basically, if you meet the minimum amount of staff to participate, I did not participate in it. Then during tax audits, uh, not tax audit now, the audit of those organizations, because the tax man will be happy that you don't even do those deductions because your taxes will be more. So they won't even bother. But those organizations that are supposed to, where you're supposed to remit to, if they send their staff, to the organization for an audit and it's not done, then the company can be sanctioned by them. So it's
Okay.
mandatory and it's good to be compliant as an organization.
Okay. Sorry for pension, for instance, we all have a kind of understanding of how the benefit will come thereafter. Maybe, I mean, how we can have access to the money being contributed. I don't really have an understanding of how people that are even contributing to this scheme, this insurance and housing fund, does it have a way that they later benefit from it in the nearest future?
Yeah, sure, sure. The housing fund, there are lots of course, something you could check with the Federal Mortgage Bank, with the National Housing Fund, a kind of collaboration within those two authorities, how you can access your housing fund. Insofar you are doing your 2.5% of your basic salary every month, at least for 6 months, you can, not that you could access, you can get facility from there to build a property for yourself. So you can access it. People are not accessing it, but because of maybe it's not very known. But when you follow the rule and you follow up with them, you can access it. I tell you. Okay.
Okay, sorry, one more. Uh, like the example of Chief Eze that we considered.
Yeah.
Okay, he's under unemployment.
Yes.
And by so doing, the organization must have computed the payee and deducted before you even have access to the balance salary at the end of the month.
Yes. Yes.
So by the time he now want to do his direct assessment, he will now redo the computation and check out the figures that he has been, that has been removed from his money before arriving at the additional to
Mm.
pay as in order to get the total, right?
Yes.
So company
Yes.
will remit the payee part, it will now remit the balance of direct assessment.
Yes. 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 Or it can disclose what it's doing to the company, so that because it's going to one tax account, not different. So he can give his
Okay.
own tax account. I mean, tax is payer ID, so his pay to his employer, so that the two will be completed. I mean, computed from source and remitted into at once. So he may not need to go for any direct assessment again. But if he did not disclose that, so if he's doing his direct assessment separately, then he must pay into the same payer ID. And okay, so
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah into the same payer ID that the company paid into, so that everything will be
Into.
very uniform. Any other question before we call it a day?
All right. One more. That benefit in kinds that we said we can take advantage of to get a more total income when we are computing consolidated relief allowance. Okay. Like you mentioned, the 5% of assets or
Mm,
the benefit when it is valued. Okay.
yeah.
If it is an asset, for instance, a vehicle.
Mm.
So is it going to be on the historical cost of the vehicle every year, or they are going to, at a point in time, use the net book value of the asset, since the asset will not remain the same over the period of usage?
So it's the cost of the vehicle, historical cost of the vehicle.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then the bonus, for instance, in my own company, I'm under account. We have admin. We call ourselves back office. It's only the 6 people that are entitled to bonus, for instance. And so it is only when they hit the overall target of the month that the admin and other department can benefit. And there is a percentage that we can get. So in so doing, we cannot include such in our payee computation. And I know bonus and a payment like leave allowance is also an additional income. So if we don't discuss that and the state government, these tax they come and they later see bonus and payee, are they going to penalize us as a result of that?
No, if you did not earn any bonus for that month, you should not put it in your payee. Since you did not earn bonus on that part, it's the month that you earn bonus. Payee that is on cash basis. So if you did not earn bonus in a particular month, then you won't put it in your payee calculation. Otherwise, you are doing a disservice to yourself. So it's those guys in the sales that maybe meet their targets and they get their bonus should come under the bonus in your pay. So if they come and you let them know the basis of you giving bonus and there's a clear target, okay, and the target was not met, and shown that no bonus was paid, reconcile it with the bank statement, then there's no problem. Don't put it in the pay, but let it be justified.
Okay. And the leave allowance, it is the period that they collect the leave. That
Yes,
period is the only period I will just put it in.
yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So, any other question? Someone is asking, raising up. Madam Shela, your question.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good- Thank you for the session.
Yeah, welcome.
Um,
Ma.
I would like to request that I need you to give me more explanations on the payroll optimization and tax planning. I didn't quite understand them. Thank you.
Yes, this is not tax planning lecture. This is payee computation. We have a lecture series maybe for tax planning. Maybe I can use